Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and today, hopefully, I can keep my words short and go through my goals for 2025. Because after doing that giant WIP haul, well, not haul, but like sharing you guys all of my UFOs and everything else, going through my stash and working on trying to fix this, I would really like to keep this part of my morning just a little abbreviated because I still have a lot of work to do, especially trying to reorg everything. It's something. So I am not sure in what order this video is going to come out amongst all the other videos of closing out 2024, bringing in 2025. I do have the January subscription box review, plus my Yarnable, plus eventually I'd like to show you guys what I've been working on just in a regular show and tell. So I don't know in what order this is going to come out, but I do have my goals for 2025 ready to share. So I figured let's go ahead, get that shared, and we can talk about it. So 2024, I am calling a massive success. For me, that was an incredibly successful year. All of my large goals were met or exceeded, and most of my small goals at least had something towards them, except for the paper crafting goals. And that got very nominal work last year. So for 2025, I did kind of change things up a little bit in how I did my printouts in my journal. I'm still just using 2024's journal because I have plenty of room in here and I didn't have time to make another one. So I may as well use as much as I can out of this one, and then we'll worry about making a new one for 2026. But my goals are a little bit different. I have 19 goals, and then my counts are a little bit different in how I'm tallying finished objects and stuff like that. So we'll talk about it. If you're interested in how I made this journal, I follow a tutorial from May Made It on covering a composition book. January 2024, the very first video of my goals, we kind of talk about the journal, how I set it up, how I decorated it, and everything else. So go back to 2024 goals, that very first video, and I will talk more about the notebook itself. But I did cover it. It is specially set up for how I use my craft journal. So I do prefer doing this versus other notebooks because for me, this condenses everything into one place and I can set it up for how it works best for how my brain works and how I consume and absorb information. So Crafty Goals have their own little tab here. Underneath, we have Project UFO, which hopefully before you see this video, you will have seen my extra long video going through all of the UFO projects that just didn't finish in 24, etc., 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 etc. Some more coffee is nice. I don't know what the finish runtime on the Project UFO video will be, but it was almost 55 minutes of me talking. Hopefully I can cut that down and abbreviate it just a little bit. So anyway, my goals, 19 of them. I have 19 goals. That seems very attainable, especially after the high of 2024. We'll see how it goes. Number one, I want to spin 3 pounds of fleece. So I got between 1 and 2 pounds last year between being sick, time, company, and everything else. We're not anticipating having nearly as much company this year. Hopefully I can at least get 3 pounds of fleece. I have 16 ounces of a rainbow fleece that I am just dying. It's a unicorn rainbow. I just really want to spin this fleece. And I think I want to spin it on the new double treadle. I do have a turquoise yarn going on that right now. I want these things done. I want to play with the yarn. I want to play with the fleece. I want to get better at spinning 3 pounds. I would like to spin 3 pounds of yarn this year. I would like to have 100 pounds of FOs. So the last couple of years, I have reduced this goal to 75 pounds, but I do have certain goals that should make 100 pounds far more attainable, starting with 50 donated hat and scarf sets. We know how much that ended up weighing last year. If I get any extra above the 50, like this year, I ended up with over 70. gravy. But I would like to get those 50 hat and scarf sets donated this year, which means I need to make them this year. Also, I'd like to do 50 donated baby hats. So we had a request for baby hats over the summer, early fall, and because I had been focusing on these hat and scarf sets, I had not made any baby hats. So I am taking the leftover single skeins, etc., of the worsted weight acrylics, and I'm making baby hats out of that before I add them into my miter square blanket, turning them into corner to corner squares and granny squares. So I'm trying to get at least 2 baby hats for every skein that I have down there. Plus I have a bunch of small balls that I can do more like newborn to 3-month size. Right now I've been focusing on 3 to 6 month and 6 to 12 month hats. I would like to donate 5 blankets. So as I'm making all those corner to corner squares and granny squares, I'm putting them in giant project totes. And eventually this year, I would like to start putting those together in blankets to donate. Right now, I think I have enough for 3 or 4 blankets. So once again, as long as I just sit down and start joining things, this should be a pretty quick goal that will also help me use up a lot of those 1-pound skeins that I have up here above my head. And that will get, once again, visual reduction done here. I will have empty things from this closet and I will have a goal met. So I'm fingers crossed, hoping that this works out. Next, I would like to donate 5 shawls. So once again, I'm a member of a prayer shawl ministry. We make shawls, we donate them. We also donate hats and blankets and everything else. That's how I've been able to donate again since I moved here. I would like to finish 10 blankets overall. So I know this sounds insane, but I would like to make blankets for all 4 of my stepkids, the 2 daughter-in-laws, and all 4 grandkids. So that's 2 child to toddler blankets, 2 child to teen blankets, and 4 adult blankets, masculine, 2 adult blankets, feminine. So I have the tubes for 1 feminine adult size blanket. I think the blue and gray lemon peel blanket may go to my tallest stepson. My tweens, I think I'm going to use one of the Karen cakes that I have to do one for the tween granddaughter. I'm not sure about my grandson yet. The 2 toddlers, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But so that I've got a head start on this. Plus the granny square and corner to corner square things, that kind of like brings me to a point where I think I can do this, and it shouldn't be that much of a stretch to do this. So 10 finished blankets with the entirety of my goals this year. Like, that doesn't seem unreasonable, but we'll see. Plus I have other half finished blankets. Once again, go to Project UFO 2025, January 2025. You'll understand. I would like to do my 400 cards this year because not sending out cards this year really irritated me. I love sending out greeting cards. I love making cards, but I just did not have time to work on them. So for me, I can sit down for 15 minutes and a 15-minute break and work on a granny square or a corner to corner square, and it doesn't bother me to just get that 15 minutes in. I can't in 15 minutes get into making cards. I need at least an hour to kind of like get into it, figure out what I'm doing, and get into the design process and everything else. So I need more dedicated time when I'm card making versus knitting and crocheting, because I always have mindless, quick, short things that I can pick up when I'm knitting and crocheting. That's not true for card making for me at all. I would like to keep up with my own make-along. So I have the Year of Make-alongs, hashtag Year of Mouths on Instagram if you want to tag it, or tag it here on YouTube as well. But I did set up 12 make-alongs for the course of this year, focusing on using certain parts of our stash and working on developing and cultivating a deeper love of what we do with fiber, because it's fun and it's wonderful. So go check out that video as well. I did an entire long video, so if you're looking for something to just listen to in the background, may my dulcet tones entertain you. But it is a very long video. I talk about why I chose each make along for each month, On my Facebook group, I also have a printout that you can grab. It's a Word document. You can just grab that, print it out, and have it for your own reference for the course of the year. Low buy. So I do have a seed budget that is based on 50% of my output from last year. Normally it would be 100%, but if you're new here, my low buy is set up for every 100 grams of yarn that I use for my stash in FOs. So finished objects out of my stash, no longer a thing. I get $1 for every 100 grams of FOs I make. And this last year I had 116 pounds, which was 52,800 and something grams. I was not going to start my year off with a $500 budget. So I did opt to do 50% of my output from last year. So I do have a seed budget, but once again, I want to stick to the low buy. For every 100 grams I use, I get $1 to bring something in. So that keeps me using more than what I am bringing in, which is the goal right now. While I can now visually see a lot of stuff here as far as stash. I would like to continue to make room so I can maybe get the books out of my closet, so I can maybe start getting some of my WIPs out here so I can see my WIPs more regularly. I don't have a place for my WIPs like I used to, so I need to start using this space to also share WIPs and keep WIPs visible. So I would like to see, probably in the next 3 years, I would like to have my overall yarn stash reduced by at least 50%. So that's still a long way to go. That's still a couple years out. So we're going to continue the low buy. So I'm bringing in less than what I am using out of my stash. I want to finish or frog all of the pre-2025 projects. So this is, once again, Project UFO. I will continue doing Project UFO for 2025. We also, in the Year of Mouse, have a dedicated month to finishing or frogging all of our UFOs, languishing WIPs, orphans, things like that. And I do have orphans I need to talk to you guys about, but that'll be part of the conversation about the reorg for Taming the Stash. I want to make 12 pairs of striped socks. So that would be 1 pair a month, ideally. But it doesn't have to be 1 pair a month. I want to finish 5 12 by 12 paper pads or kits, finish 5 6 by 6 paper pads, finish 5 rolls of washi tape. I would like to use 20 hanks or 2,000 grams worked into a fingering weight yarn. So what that goal is I want to take a hank of fingering weight yarn and make a project with it. If it uses 50 grams, that still counts, because that 50 grams can then be broken into, 20 gram minis, go into my granny shawl, things like that. But I would like to work into at least 20 hanks of yarn. And I've said this before, that's the part of my stash that visually changes the least, because it takes so much more time to use fingering weight yarn as a whole. But I would like to, once again, use 20. I did 21 last year, so I think I can do it. And my New Year's Day cast on was 5 hanks. So that's something. That's something, right? I would like to make 1 sweater. The goal, once again, is just 1 sweater. Last year, somehow made 6, including toddler sweater. Make the family blankets, like I've already said. And I would like to learn a new technique. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a wholly brand new technique. Like, I haven't practiced intarsia knitting in so long. Like, I would kind of like to make an intarsia project maybe, instead of sticking with Fair Isle when I want to do color work. I would also like to experiment some more with Tunisian. So I might try to find the yarn I had set aside to do the Jada Tunisian blanket a couple years ago. When we got Banner, that project kind of got tabled because I lost squares for February. And then by the spring we were moving. So everything was topsy-turvy. I think it was the same year. Maybe Banner was already a year old when we moved. He must have been, because we already knew he was skittish by then and he had all the knee problems. So anyway, the blocks for that got lost. So I would like to restart that maybe. I would definitely like to start experimenting more with some different techniques that I don't normally reach for. I am not going to put something like brioche down specifically though, because we all know if you've been around for a while, I have had brioche as a goal like 5 years in a row. So I'm just not even going to put it on the list. It is what it is. It could be brioche. Maybe since I didn't put it on there, maybe I will try it finally. Maybe I'll try a different technique, but I would like to experiment with new techniques. And that also, once again, plays into the make along theme. One of the things is learning a new technique or spending time with a technique you don't have a lot of experience with, really getting more knowledge about it. So anyway, like I said, this year I did my tally sheet differently than I have in years past. So on my finished tally, I have shawls, hats, scarves, hat and scarf sets, baby hats, blankets, dishcloths and mug rugs, sweaters, cards, and socks. So I kept it very, very simple. For the next side of that over here, I have a section that is supplies used. In previous years, I've had a ton of supplies that I was tracking my usage for. My cakes are more or less under control now. I'll either reach for the bulky yarn or I won't. I used up almost all of my Red Heart, Impeccable, things like that, that I really wanted to get used because I don't reach for those yarns frequently. So I really don't have as many things that I want to like wholly just focus on other than obviously the fingering weight, which I had already mentioned. So I do have a couple of things that I want to focus on this year, which is fingering cakes, 6x6 pads, 12x12 pads, sticker sheets, washi tape, and cotton skein. So I end up with more cotton than I use a lot. And quite a few of you guys had mentioned this too, that you don't know why you have so much cotton because you don't reach to work with cotton a lot. So once again, coming back to the year of the make-alongs, cotton was one of the goals for August. So I would like to kind of track this to see like what's happening. And I would also like to keep an eye on like how I'm ending up with cotton because I don't buy that much cotton. I could not tell you the last time I bought like dishcloth cotton. And yet my dishcloth cotton box is almost to the point like I can't put the lid on it. But I know I haven't bought any in at least 3 years. I don't know what happened. I don't know where this yarn came from. So I'm not complaining because when I make dishcloths, I make a lot of dishcloths, and it's not just that, like I have, now I do know like where I got like my Jody Long cotton from. I want to make a tank top sweater out of that. Like I know where that came from, but I have other things like that that are garment cottons and those just seem to multiply and I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, my last section is the donated items. Once again, as you heard when I was going down the goals, I do have a lot of lofty goals for things I would like to donate. One of the primary things, if you're new here, I do with my knitted and crocheted items is I tend to make a lot of things to donate. So it's one of the reasons why I have an extensive acrylic stash. I love acrylic yarn for donations, and most of the places I donate to do request no natural fibers because it makes care of items more simplistic. So anyway, I did want to really specifically track my donated items by the end of the year. So I have the goals of hats, scarves, baby hats, shawls, and blankets. I will probably write in hat and scarf set because with 2024, we did end up with a huge group of hats separate from scarves. And I would like to probably track those numbers slightly differently because the hats and scarves will be donated to one place, whereas hats and separate scarves will be donated to another place. So I probably want to keep those separate, as well as, I make a lot of hats and scarves just for like friends and family and things like that as well. So that is the beginning layout of what I want to do with my 2025 as far as crafty goals. Just a reminder, if you are new here, for me, these crafty goals are not hard and fast rules. These aren't things I must do. These are loose guidelines to kind of keep my brain on track for where I wanted to be. This isn't a I'm a horrible person if I don't meet these goals. This is just a casual thing for me. The only time I get frustrated with myself is when I come so close and miss the mark in a big way. So, overall, I I find for me, I enjoy checking things off of checklist. I enjoy making lists. I enjoy being able to mark things off my list. It brings me joy in a very unique way. So it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, I understand. You don't have to participate. If you enjoy just listening, that's wonderful. But if you do have goals for 2025, let me know down below. What are your goals? What are you hoping to see change or grow? Or what are you excited about working on? What are you excited about delving into? I know a number of you guys have some pretty spectacular projects planned for this year. And that's once again just a different type of goal. So what kind of projects are you going to make this year? What are you looking forward to working with? Let me know, because I really do enjoy hearing what you guys are doing as well. So I love you guys. Please take care. I look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye, guys.